Welcome to this webinar of Paying for College. This was presented as a college scholarship workshop at Royalmont Academy High School in October of 2013. And I've recorded this to put it online. Several people were asking if we could share this information. So welcome to this webinar. My name is Carl Brown, and on behalf of Royalmont Academy High School, welcome, and I hope you find this helpful. The outline for tonight is we're going to talk about deciding factors for a college, how to make a decision about college. Then we're going to be evaluating options, both in terms of how to pay and how to make a choice. And then we're going to talk about the 9 steps for scholarships, for finding scholarships and applying for scholarships. And then we're going to share a timeline with you. So let's just jump right into this. I'm gonna move fairly quickly, and you can follow down at the bottom. You can see how many slides are left in this presentation. So caveat emptor, right? Buyer beware. Be careful about trusting someone who stands to gain financially from advice they give you, especially admissions counselors, okay, or financial aid officers, okay, and also very important as a buyer beware when it comes to colleges and universities, but frankly, when it comes to anything in life, you can pay whatever you want. How much does college cost? They'll let you pay as much as you're willing to pay, okay? And when you're looking at factors on deciding what's a good college, keep in mind that correlation does not equal causality, okay? So just because Harvard graduates the best in the country doesn't mean Harvard is the best, because Harvard only accepts the best, okay? So be careful as you're looking at deciding factors to not equate correlation with causality. And also when you're looking at various factors, measure the marginal benefit, okay? How much better is this school than that school, instead of how much better is this school than not going to school at all, okay? We want to look for the marginal benefit between two colleges or between two options. All right, full disclosure, since I just said be careful about trusting people who gain financially, I want to tell you that there's no financial gain for me in sharing this information with you. I got a BA and an MBA from the University of Dayton, and I worked there for 9 years. This does not mean, however, that I'm in any way predisposed to suggest you apply to or go to the University of Dayton. And for any Flyer fans out there, I'm sorry to say, I don't recommend the University of Dayton. I am a board member at Royalmont Academy, and it is my main apostolate. Okay, I have several children at Royalmont, including my daughter is a junior at Royalmont Academy High School. And when I say that Royalmont is my main apostolic project, also in full disclosure, my goal is that your children and my children will get to heaven. That's my goal, okay? Also, as part of a full disclosure, I work at selection.com. That doesn't play into anything here, but as part of a full disclosure, so you know that I don't stand to benefit at all from this. Selection.com performs pre-employment background checks, okay? So the outline for tonight, we're going to go over options that you have, choices, and factors. Okay, so what I mean by that is options in how to pay for college, choices in colleges to go to, and then the deciding factors. And then how to rank your factors, review options of how to pay, review 9 steps in getting scholarships. Then we're going to go into more detail on resources for a search for scholarships, and tips on essay writing. Then we'll review the choices of colleges, and then we'll finish with a summary. Frankly, I'm not sure how long this will take, and especially since it's different than when I was presenting it, but let's just go right through it. Here are some options that you have for paying for college. You can pay for cash. You can fund your child's college out of your own retirement. You can take on student loans. Your student could work and earn income. You could purchase real estate in the city, well, frankly, anywhere, but in the city of where there's a college university, rent that out, especially if it's in the college town where your child is going to college, rent that out, and then they can live there and charge rent to help cover the cost of the mortgage and also pay for tuition. We're not going to go into that tonight. I just want to share that that's an option. ROTC, the Army or Air Force, Navy, Marines is an option, and also scholarships. These are the various options, and we're going to go through these in detail. What choices do you have for colleges? Let's just identify those. You could go to a private college, a public college, a community college, a for-profit college, or you could do an online option for college. So what factors do you use in deciding which college to choose and how to pay for it? There are many factors that you could use: the quality of the education, the cost of the education, the environment where your children will be, the location, the reputation of that college university, the fit, the size of the endowment, the facilities, your child's safety, the U.S. News and World Report ranking, alumni giving, and our children's souls. All of these could be factors in determining where your child can go to college. And as a way to help rank those factors, I want to share this option with you here. For those of you who remember maps before Google Maps or iPhone Maps, at the bottom of maps you would frequently find a table like this that showed the distance between two cities. The distance between, let's say, Boston and Chicago. And you would look down and over from Boston to Chicago, and you'd find that it's 960 miles. I want to use this same kind of arrangement to rank different factors that you might consider as important in determining where to send your child to college or how to pay for it. So we're going to take this construct and we're going to replace it with different factors. I took the factors from 2 slides back, including our children's souls, quality, cost, environment, location, and so on. And then what you do with this table is you decide if the factor at the top of the column is more important or less important than the factor on that row. So the first square would be, is our children's soul more important than the quality of the education? And if the column is the more important factor instead of the row, in this case quality, then you put a 1. How about between quality and cost? Well, for me, and I suspect for most of you who are watching this, cost is going to be a more important determiner than quality. If Harvard is the highest quality education you can get, it might be out of your range for affording it. So in this case, I put a 0 or a slash, which indicates that the row is more important there. And then I just go through and compare each factor against each other. Our children's soul, in comparison to cost, our children's soul is more important. Our children's soul in comparison to the environment, our children's soul is more important. Compared to location, our children's soul wins out. Our children's soul is the most important factor in my mind. Again, I'm just full disclosure here. So it wins out of reputation and fit and size of endowment and facilities and safety, U.S. News and ranking, and alumni giving. I put alumni giving in there because it's such a bogus factor. And you'll find other bogus factors, by the way, in any U.S. News and World Report ranking. Okay, so the next column, I compare quality against the other factors. And let's see. Oh yeah, okay, sorry. Once you've ranked each column, you want to total the column, and then through here. Okay, now we're going to go down through the quality column, and you can see that environment is more important than quality, reputation is more important than quality to me. Safety is more important than quality, and so on. So I have 11 in the first column and I have 6 in the next column. But then you need to count the zeros in each row. So there are zero zeros in the row that's labeled quality, but I want to bring that number down here. And so again, a 1 means that the column is more important, and a 0 means that the factor in the row or to the right is more important. When I go and fill it all out, you can see that the total for cost is 8 on the column, but cost is more important than quality, so that row has a 1. So then I add those up at the bottom. So as you see at the bottom, the first column, 11, is higher than the next column, which is 6 plus 0 is 6. You see, this gives me a factor by factor ranking of all these factors, and I can see that our children's soul is most important to me with a rating of 11, and then safety is the second most important factor with a rating of 10. The third most important is the cost, with a rating of 9, and so forth. Anyway, I hope that that's helpful to you. And if you want to, I use this as a handout the evening of the College Scholarship Workshop, but if you'd like to get a copy of that table, you can email admissions@royalmont.com. Okay, so back to our choices. I had listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 options on how to pay for college, and I think we can agree that paying cash is probably not an option for you if you're watching this video, especially now that we're on slide 13 of 38. Okay, how about funding it from retirement? Here are some problems with borrowing against your retirement in order to pay for your child's college education. Number 1, the loan must be repaid in 5 years. If you borrow from your IRA or your 401k, you're going to have to repay that to yourself in 5 years. Interest on that loan is not tax deductible. People are going to tell you, hey, you can borrow against your retirement. Yeah, and you're just paying yourself back. It's better than borrowing from someone else. Fine. But you're going to have to pay it back in 5 years. The interest on that loan is not tax deductible. And the future value of that money is astronomical. Okay, so it costs more to borrow from your retirement than it seems. And then, more importantly, how will you pay for kid number 2 or number 3 or number 4 if you're like me and you have more than one child? So let's just quickly say that funding college out of your retirement is not an option. What about student loans? Here's some average starting salaries for college graduates based on the field that they enter. Okay, I'm sorry, based on the degree that they get. So a psychology degree, for example, the starting salary of someone in psychology is $27,000. In comparison to electrical engineering, $51,000. Of this range of starting salaries, you can see that right in the middle is $32,000, $35,000. What a coincidence, because the class of 2013, on average, people who take student loans graduate with $35,000 in total debt. So they're going to be starting out, on average, making as much per year as they owe. All right, and don't think that people aren't delinquent on student loans. People can be delinquent on student loans, and in fact, in Ohio, the delinquency rate is close to 12%. And you don't want to go delinquent on your student loans. There are many problems with student loans. For example, it's a loan that has zero immediate value, $0 of immediate value, as opposed to buying a car, when you drive it off the lot, you automatically have value there. There's no residual value in a student loan. Okay, so you can't cash in a student loan. You can't cash in a college scholarship at the end, right? There's a lack of liquidity. You can't cash it in, and the lender has full recourse, and there's no collateral. That means that the lender can come at you with everything they've got, okay? And they can hit you with penalties, fees. You become vulnerable to a lawsuit for the entire value of the loan. Your wage and tax refunds can be garnished. Social Security benefits could be garnished. There's damage to your consumer credit. And by the way, student loans cannot be discharged in bankruptcy. And you can even lose a professional license due to a default on student loans. So a medical doctor would lose their license to practice medicine if they defaulted on student loans, which is horrible because then, I mean, they're losing the main source of income to pay for the student loans. Student loans are terrible. Study after study shows that people with student loans delay buying a home because of having to pay off their student loans. They delay marriage, they delay having kids, they delay retirement planning. It limits their career flexibility because they feel the burden of having to get a higher paying job so that they can't take maybe a teaching job that they would like to have, or work for a nonprofit, or work for the church. And there's an increased level of stress in all of this. And more important than all of this is we don't know the impact, the long-term impact of student loan debt on families down the road. So there's enough short-term bad impacts that I'm just telling you, student loans are very, very dangerous. And if I were you, I would cross it off my list entirely. Next is ROTC as an option. I'm just going to stop and say there's nothing wrong with this option. I know several people who went through the ROTC program when I was in college, and it very helpful for them. So this is a great option to consider. Again, real estate, I mentioned a little bit about that. I'm not going to go into more detail there. Student income. Keep in mind that work-study jobs, which are jobs that you can get by filling out the financial aid form, the FASF, that does not count against your child in calculating the need for your family. But all other income does. So if your child has a job, the income from that job counts against your family in financial aid packages. So the bottom line there is student income is good, but if you're going to be using the financial aid application form, then you should favor work study in every case to any other job. All right, so that brings us to scholarships. And again, I'm just going to run right through this. So the scholarships are obviously a great source of cash to pay for college. And here are 9 steps that you can take to find and apply for scholarships. Number 1, check your school resources. In your high school, in local colleges, find out what resources they have for applying for or receiving scholarships. Number 2, search scholarship databases and the web. And by the way, there are 4 of these steps are underlined. Those are the steps that I'm going to go over in more detail shortly. We're on slide 27 of 38. Step number 3, look at local groups, governments, foundations, personal connections. Number 4, choose a role to play in writing an essay. We're going to go over that in more detail. Then write the essay. Step number 6, solicit letters of recommendation. Start the application process. Keep track of where you're applying and how you're applying, and follow up with them. So, places to search. You should write these down, frankly, or do a screenshot right now to keep this. But collegeanswer.com, which is run by Sally May, has a lot of resources for finding scholarships. bigfuture.collegeborg.org/pay-for-college. Again, a resource for finding scholarships. Know that that's put forth by the people who bring us the standardized tests. So you know what's their motivation. collegequest.com, which has long been a resource in college scholarships and applications, run by Peterson's. Very useful resource there, collegequest.com. fastaid.com, fastweb.com, freshinfo.com, scholarships.com, scholarshipexperts.com, and ultimatescholarshipbook.com. And I'll get to that one when I get to the resources that I used here. But again, do a screenshot right now, write these down, use this to search for scholarships. And here is the best tip ever, okay? Using the previous page, find a directory and or find a scholarship program, because many scholarships have their own website for applying and tracking. So you take that website and search Google for that scholarship by name. Okay. More importantly, the last line here: search Google for related websites to that scholarship website. Okay, so let's say that your scholarship website is the carlbrownfoundation.com. Okay, you want to take the Carl Brown Foundation scholarship.com and Google with the word related and a colon right before that. It's hard for me to convey how effective this search is. It is the best search tip ever, okay? You use the word related, no space, you put a colon in, no space, and then you put a web address in. And Google will bring back to you other websites that are like that website. Okay, so a typical Google search, if you search for any phrase, you're going to get 27 million hits or more. When you use this tool, you're going to get 97 hits or 134 hits. It's very, very precise, and it's capitalizing on the fact that Google is one of the best search engines, search databases in the world. Okay, Google is a database. It's not just a search engine. It's a search engine because it's a database. So anyway, this is the best tip ever. I can't stress to you how important this is. And if you don't get it, I'm sorry, but related website. That's what you got to do. Okay, let's get on to the playing roles in the essay. We're on slide 30 of 38. And yeah, I'm just stringing this together so the text there doesn't match up on the page numbers. But anyway, I hope this is of value to you. Okay, here's the point in this slide. You identify a role to play in an essay. Okay, so you give your essay a theme. So if you are the applicant, or if you are the parent of the applicant, you identify a pattern of the things that are going to be placed on your application, and you use that pattern to create a story as if you are a character in a play. So here are, 9 examples. I'm just going to go through a couple of these. So for example, if you have creative talent and you're artistic, that's the second example here. You couch everything in terms of being the creative talent. If you are the survivor who's overcome adversity, physical ailments or hardships, then that's the theme of your essay. If you are the leader, so the team captain and student council president, then that's the role that you play, and that theme should come through in the essay. It can be an athlete, a do-gooder, an activist, an entrepreneur. Okay, the key thing here is to use one of these themes as you're writing the essay for scholarship, so that it creates an overall impression that's better than disjointed thoughts. Okay, and here are some essay guidelines when you're writing the essay. All right, subject and verb always has to agree. One should never generalize. No sentence fragments. Be more or less specific, right? The passive voice is to be avoided. Avoid alliteration always. Avoid cliches like the plague, they're old hat. Okay, so I'm just checking to make sure if you're awake. But here's my favorite. Never use a big word when a diminutive alternative would suffice. Okay. In all seriousness, here are 5 components to a winning essay. Show, don't tell. Use a story rather than a discourse. Keep things personal. People do business with people, and scholarships get awarded to people by people, right? So display that personality. Use effective organization in outlining and conveying the message, the overall message of the essay. Make each sentence count. Okay. Make your essay unique and memorable. People who are reviewing these scholarship essays are reviewing lots of them. So make yours unique and memorable. Okay, keep track. I don't know about you, but I plan to have my daughter apply for at least 75 scholarships, probably more than 100. So keep track of that. Timeline/checklist. This is one of the best value adds that I have in this webinar, and I shared it at the workshop. I can show you a screenshot of it here. I mean, this literally just goes through month by month from junior year on what you ought to be doing. Okay, and again, you can email admissions@royalmont.com to get a copy of this in PDF. And you'll want it in a PDF form because, as you can see here, some of the words are highlighted in blue. Those are links to resources where you can find out more about that topic. Okay, so back to our choices. We're getting to wrapping up here, slide 36 of 38. We talked about private, public, community college, online. I could go on from here, but suffice it to say that you should only really consider a private college or education experience if you can pay in cash. Okay? Public colleges can be just as effective as private schools, particularly if you get into the honors programs of a public college. Okay? And they're far less expensive. Just do not go out of state to another public college or university, because the out-of-state tuition it's the same as paying for a private education. Community college. Okay. In researching for this workshop, one of the things that struck me more than anything else was the fact that no one cares where you started your college education. All that really matters is where you graduate. Okay, so if you start out at a prestigious college and you get freshman and sophomore year in, but then you can't afford to keep up that pace and you have to end up going to a community college, no one's going to care or even know that you went to the other school or got admitted. But if you go to a community college for 2 years to get your general education requirements out of the way, and then transfer to a public college university, you'll end up, your diploma is going to have the public school's name on it, okay? You'll get all of that prestige without having to pay up front. And in the community college environment, you're not likely to have, assistants teaching a class. You're likely to have smaller class size, more access to the professors, more personalized attention. And keep in mind, community college credits transfer to public schools and private schools alike. In fact, private schools, I did not know this until I did the research for this webinar, private schools and public schools are seeking after community college transfers students because they know that those students, having already had a record of accomplishment in college, are going to make good graduates from their institution. Okay? And if a public school or private school will accept the transcripts of a community college, then why should we have the impression that that's sort of a less prestigious education? Again, this is one of the biggest things I found in my research, and I throw that out there for you to consider, especially considering that the cost savings of doing a community college if you're commuting. So you've got no room and board expenses. Okay, just a lot of merit for that option. Finally, the two more things. For-profit colleges. I did not realize this, but these are to be avoided solely because they are more expensive. Okay, and the reason they're more expensive is they are for-profit organizations. So even if their employees are getting paid the same, they have to pay tax. Okay, so they're going to pass the cost of that tax right on to the student. Okay, so there's no other reason for it to be expensive. They're not buying prestige with that. They're paying taxes with your tuition money. So that's why I say avoid those. Finally, the online option. I have no comments here, and I shared this at the workshop. Someone said that their son went through an online college experience, and it was very good for them. In fact, he's now teaching at a public college now with the degree that he got from online. So obviously colleges respect the online options in some cases. But okay, there I said no comment, and then I made a bunch of comments. But I'm not telling you good or bad. I'm just saying that's an option. Okay. All right. We're on 2 slides to go. I'm just going to share the resources that I used. Debt Free You by Zach Bissonette. How to Go to College Almost for Free by Ben Kaplan. And the Ultimate Scholarship Book 2013 by Jen and Kelly Tanabe. Okay, Debt Free You is $12.14 on Amazon. It has 4.5 stars out of 100 ratings. When I looked, it was very worthwhile, funny, and informative. I recommend Debt Free You. How to Go to College Almost for Free. It's a little more expensive. It's not as well rated. Frankly, it's more dull than Debt Free You. Zach Bissonette with Debt Free You, he's very gifted. But again, How to Go to College Almost for Free, it's not as good as Debt Free You, but it lists a lot of resources. However, the Ultimate Scholarship Book 2013 lists all of the resources. It's $18.86. It has much fewer rating, much less many. It has fewer people have rated it on Amazon. But you can get a Kindle version there, but I would recommend getting the print version because it's a reference and you've got to go back and forth. So those are the resources I used. If you're interested in any of the handouts or an outline of this presentation, please email admissions@royalmont.com. And I trust that you found this helpful. God bless you.